message of love and prayers of support and comfort for my big brother, who's actually a little brother, because I'm taller than him, so we always had this little joke going on. I would say, that's my little big brother, and I was his big little brother. And so, anyway, he is. And Uncle Jim is in ill health, unfortunately, but he wanted to make sure that I conveyed his sincere condolences to all of you, and on behalf of his whole family as well, out there in Sacramento, California. And likewise, the Johnson clan of Big Texas wants to send you its prayers and its love and Big Texas hugs. Okay, now the good stuff. You know, she was 6 years older than me, right? You know that, right? And so when I was a 12-year-old scrawny little kid, she was a tall, beautiful 18-year-old bossy big sister. And I remember one time I wasn't behaving the way that she thought I should. And so she promptly pushed me to the floor and sat on me. I screamed and I wiggled and I protested. She said, "I'll let you up if you promise to behave." Well, what choice did I have? So I behaved for a little while anyway. Dogs. You know, as young kids growing up, we always had a dog. There was Rex and Terry and Pepper, 2 Peppers actually. They were all mongrels. They were all strays, found and brought home by my big sister Dorothy. Well, because the dogs lived outside and they roamed free, well, a couple of them got run over and killed by cars. And we cried. And our mom would say, "Okay, that's it. No more dogs." But then a couple of weeks would go by. And here would come Dorothy with her hands behind her back with yet another cute little puppy who just needed a home. And so the siblings, we all stood together and we begged and cried and pleaded. And finally, our mother said, "Okay, one more dog." I was in college, you know, and so many of you were, and you know, there was a lot of reading to do. A lot of reading. And so my big sister, she was an excellent reader and a really strong voice. And so what I would do is I would give her the book that I had to read, and I'd give her my tape recorder, and I'd say, "Here, could you record this?" And she would whiz through them, I mean, really fast, because she had a technique. Since a lot of our classic authors put in way too much description, she would just skip over it. And so I'd be listening, and she'd be reading a few pages of action or dialogue, and then I'd hear description, and pages would flutter by. You know, and I loved it because she could finish a book sometimes in only an hour. It was really good. One of the most memorable and proudest moments that I can remember is when I walked down the aisle with her to marry her life partner, Edward Flannery. And from that union came a half-dozen kids and more than a dozen and a half grandkids, and still great-grandkids. I think you're up to 7 now and growing. And of all of them, all of you, she was so proud, so proud. What a great family you are. A great family. You know, some 30 years plus ago, I was at a training seminar with Southwestern Bell Telephone, and we were asked to come up with a personal mantra, or a kind of simple philosophy to live by. And without really realizing it, I came up with a phrase that very closely describes how my big sister lived her life. And that phrase is, live each day with joy by bringing hope and love and joy to others. And she did that every day, with family, with friends, with strangers. She is my hero. She's a lot of people's hero. And we'll miss her. But we have our memories of her, and we can dip into those memories anytime we choose. So let us not grieve her passing, but instead let us celebrate her living and be inspired by it. I'm going to ask my assistant, my beautiful granddaughter, to pass out an envelope to each of the siblings, and you're not to open it until I tell you.
All done.
I'm going to ask you also, Tati, to bring my drink up here and stand next to me, so when I make the toast, I can reach out and get my drink. Okay? By the way, I am having, in honor of my big sister, the first ever Manhattan. And I like it. I'd like to close with a short reading from Gates of Prayer from the Judaism Prayer Book. If I can turn the page. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening of buds in the warmth of spring and summer, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we'll remember her. And when we have joys that we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too shall live. For she is now a part